to behave. The ladies' rooms are, since there's no men in the audience today, the ladies' room is to the left of the elevators. The structure of it is I'm going to thank our sponsors, introduce Lauren, and then she'll introduce Susan. They'll have their fireside chat. And then we'll have about 10 minutes for Q&A from the audience, and then a little bit of time at the end to chit-chat and network. So without further ado, I want to thank our sponsors. Our lead sponsor this year is Mountain One Bank, and our event sponsors are Cardinal Cushing Centers, Crystal Moon Holistic Healing, Friendship Home, George Washington Toma, Phifer PInkham, the South Shore Y, SteinbergHR, Tiny and Sons Auto Glass, and Unique Stairways, and the Wellspring Group. If you are a sponsor, please raise your hand. I didn't do that in the beginning. So thank you. I do want to give Megan Dunphy from Mountain One an opportunity to say a few words about thanks.
Thank you. Well, this is a happy little surprise that I'm seeing today. But I'll make it super quick. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and to the Chamber always, thank you for the opportunity to be able to sponsor great events like this. They're so enriching, and I know every time we come, we get so much out of it, and I love getting to meet everyone. And for those of you who don't know me, I manage the bank branch right here in Rockland, so come say hi anytime. Thank you.
Thank you again for your support. It's a little warm, so I think we will keep the doors open. So welcome. Thank you both for being here. Lauren Dell'Olio is the Vice President of Marketing and Communication at the South Shore Y. She is a seasoned marketing and communication leader dedicated to enhancing community well-being. She has a passion for storytelling and has created impactful campaigns for organizations like the YMCA, Microsoft, Starbucks, and Fidelity Investments. As Vice President of Marketing and Communication at the South Shore Y, Lauren drives strategies to support more than 40,000 members through programs like child care camps and wellness initiatives. She oversees membership growth, advertising, digital content, public relations, and fundraising for one of the largest YMCA nonprofits in the country. In addition to her YMCA role, Lauren advises Situate Salt Cave and previously led Coco Fitness's marketing efforts, growing the brand to more than 100 locations across North America. A leadership South Shore class of 2022 graduate, Lauren has lived in Norwell for nearly 20 years, where she enjoys family life with her husband Mike and their 3 teenagers. Yeah. Anyway,
that's the hardest job.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Welcome, everyone. It is such an honor to be here. We're going to have an amazing conversation with this fascinating woman, Susan Davis. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm thrilled. Susan and I have crossed paths numerous ways and times. We both live in Norwell. We both raise our children there. We're both in marketing. Our daughters play soccer together. There's been coaching together. And these are not things that we've planned. Susan's everywhere, right? She's everywhere, and it's an amazing thing that she is. Our husbands are both in dad bands. Hers actually gets paid, and mine gets paid in the garage on Thursdays, and makes noise. Occasionally, I'm allowed to play tambourine, so that's exciting. But we both have the pleasure of working in marketing on the South Shore and connecting people to the things that they love and need, right here in our backyard. I've worked with Susan on numerous projects and have had the honor of going to Girl Gang events. And if you're not part of Girl Gang or haven't been to an event, you're missing out. So just say it. So you got to check it out too. But Susan's going to talk a lot more about that today as well. So without further ado, let me introduce you to this fascinating person. Susan is the owner of SHD Marketing. She thrives on helping businesses grow by listening closely and crafting stories that perfectly capture their essence. She loves the transformative moments when clients see their dreams come to life through impactful logos or campaigns. With over 20 years of marketing expertise, Susan's career began in the nonprofit sector, give up nonprofits, before advancing to director-level roles at McKesson, where she gained a reputation as a versatile problem solver. At SHD Marketing, her all-woman team helps small and medium-sized businesses scale quickly and sustainably without cutting corners. A dedicated community member in Norwell, Massachusetts. Susan Susan serves as president of the Vinyl PTO and Women's Club of Norwell. She volunteers locally, and she co-founded the Girl Gang Association to empower women business owners. Besides her work, she enjoys raising 2 active kids and supporting her community. So, welcome. All right, so let's get into it. Susan, can you share with us, your career's been fascinating, and I'd love for everyone to hear about it from you, but tell us the arc, the journey of your career, how it began, and a little bit about your background.
Absolutely, and thank you for that generous introduction. I appreciate it. It's so nice to see all of you. I see lots of friends, new people, clients, everybody in between, so it's really an honor to be here with you all this morning. We're all very busy people with a lot of responsibilities on the professional and personal side, so the fact that all these humans made it here today is pretty impressive, and I really appreciate that. I'm looking forward to this time together. So throughout my career, as Lauren mentioned, one thing that I draw upon so often is that I started out in the nonprofit sector. And so I give this piece of unsolicited advice to any child leaving, or starting their professional experience, that when you work in nonprofit, you don't have to have a lot of experience, and you'll get lots of responsibilities. So it's a wonderful way to really dive in if you have the confidence and the interest in just exploring everything that's out there to really hone in on what you're interested in. So for me, that was health agencies in San Francisco, which was a great experience, and I found that I really liked marketing. And so then when I was ready to pursue another path, I went to what was headquartered right in downtown San Francisco. It no longer is. It's called McKesson Corporation. So it's a Fortune 5 company. Who here has ever heard of McKesson? Okay, so we have either healthcare workers or investors, because that always seems to be the only people that are familiar with it. But it's a huge company. It's been around for about 180 years. It's enormous by number of people, but also revenue. And that was a great opportunity for me to work at a company that had a lot of different departments. And I was lucky enough to have a variety of different bosses. And what I learned at my career at McKesson was to just jump in and get stuff done and ask for help when you need it. I also learned something really valuable that I didn't know existed, but if you identify a need at your organization for a new job and why you might be good at that and present it to somebody with the power to make that happen, sometimes it does just happen. So that was a great opportunity I had to work for the president there to manage strategic initiatives, internal communications, variety of other things, and I really got to jump around at the company. You can tell I loved it. I still talk as though I work there. It's been a long time since I have. I've got lots of friends, of course, that still do, and it'll always be part of my experience. But I did realize that as fun as it is helping shareholders out there in the world, it's even more exciting to help people in our community. And when I moved to Norwell, I realized how much I value community. It was kind of new to me, but I moved here without children, and my husband's from England. I've moved here from San Francisco, so we had to form our own community, really. And as you can imagine, that was challenging. A lot of people are from here. They have their posse, but I just kept showing up, and I kept on volunteering, and eventually people started noticing me in the room, and I found my people here as well. But volunteering really became the gateway to find my own personal community of people that I, saw how they worked, I saw how they treated others, and that just helped the friendship become that much more solid. And so then I also realized if I value community and I do something like marketing, which like HR is very transferable to a variety of different industries, it occurred to me, maybe I can do marketing for people within the community. And so I kind of had one of those epiphany moments, and I have to say where it happened because it all kind of silly sounding, but I was in Northern California at a retreat, staying in a yurt, don't you just love it, drinking little tinctures of things that the farmers had grown there, and it was a friend's birthday, and she said instead of, having a wild party, we're all going to do a yoga retreat, which was super fun, and I thought I might as well have a meeting with the life coach that was leading it, because it's rude not to in those situations. And when I was chatting with her, I said, well, I have this idea about starting my own marketing thing, but I don't know. It's just kind of like waffling on it. And she, as talented life coaches do, and I know there's some here, immediately got, without knowing me at all, she said, "It sounds like you're looking for permission to do this." And I thought, yeah, I am. I'm waiting for my parents to tell me that is the wise choice. Of course, nobody will give you permission except yourself. And so we always have to call ourselves to the table to have that, to make that decision and have that honest discussion with yourself. So I thought, well, let's just try it and see if it works. And it was, really fun and exciting. And by the time I had my first client, who was somebody I know, and I thought, I'll just do it for free and see if there's any value in it. I already had my first paying client, and then, things just continued to evolve from there. So I was really lucky that I was able to connect with people in the community who became clients, and to have people like many people in this room who advocated for my business, because I know that's a big part of it. We need our community. But here, as the leader of SHD marketing and involved with a few other organizations, I just feel so grateful. Life is fun. The job we do is really great. It's busy, it's hectic, but for right now, it's hectic with nice, happy, wonderful things. So I'm truly grateful for it.
So a little bit more about SHD marketing. Tell us about the mission of your organization and how you've seen that come to light.
Absolutely. Thank you. So we operate as your personal marketing department. So the concept around that is, if you have an internal marketing department who maybe doesn't have the time to focus on a specific initiative, or you don't yet have a marketing professional who works for you, or you maybe, did and you're in between, then we can just jump in to support you, whether it's small projects like needing a beautiful poster like this one, or bigger projects like a marketing strategy or a website or messaging framework, all of those things. So my organization is set up to really help clients with just what they need, nothing more, nothing less. So we have some packages that are just popular based on what we've noticed people need when they're launching or growing their business, but it really is custom. And I'm looking out and seeing some friends and clients, and really their packages are custom because I want them only to pay for what they're going to use and what's going to make a meaningful difference in their business. It is a woman-led team, so I'm lucky enough to have some pretty amazing colleagues that I work with who are very talented in their area of expertise, so we all get to collaborate now. It's not just me, which I always felt kind of funny coming from, a 250-person marketing department to a marketing department of one. I always felt a little guilty for my clients, because I felt like they weren't benefiting from all the collaboration that we know happens when you get to work with fellow marketers or with colleagues. At the end of a meeting, the ideas and the plan is much better than at the beginning, typically. So thankfully, I now have a team, so we can all collaborate and work together in that way, which is, I think, leads to a better end result.
Would you say, so the two pieces of your story that resonate, I think, so well for us in South Shore, is that you were, in San Francisco, your husband was from the UK, you came in the middle and made a community for yourself, which is amazing, and then built this amazing organization. What do you see as the biggest impact SHD marketing has had on the South Shore community?
Oh, well, that's nice that if it's had any impact at all. But yeah, Stephen and I like to say we're exotic. And that we're here, because we're not from here. He's a little more noticeable with his accent, which you can experience at the Salt Caves. More on that later if you're interested. He'll be so glad he got a mention just now, by the way. But really, I said community matters. I volunteer. I've got a family. My business relies on the community. And so giving back is really critical, and it became the fiber of who we are as a company, supporting members in the community, but really because it's an extension of what we all know. We're here together in community. We know that if we want to, have a role or feel a sense of placehood, we need to have a community, whether that's a small group of friends, it's your neighbors, whether it's, an organization like what the South Shore Chamber does is bringing us together. We all need our community, because then we can really rely on each other. And with the Girl Gang Association, that was another way of forming a community. And it was because we noticed one didn't exist. That I started it with Melissa Smith, who owns Hale Bone Broth.
Many people know her in Hanover. She started the Hanover Farmers Market. So she and I did this together, which is really fun because we've got a little bit of a yin-yang thing going on with our personalities. So she's got some wonderful strengths that I don't have that I can lean on. And we realized that it's often lonely as a female entrepreneur. Our spouse stops listening to us after a certain number of times. We bring these, challenges or opportunities to them. You don't always know who to call for PR support, HR support, or anything else. And it's just nice to have a place to learn. When you're part of a larger organization or a corporation, there's many learning opportunities often built into the corporate culture. As an entrepreneur, you have to identify what those are. So the Girl Gang Association is a network of female entrepreneurs who get together quarterly for in-person networking events like this. And there's also business resources. We lean on each other. We have experts within the group and outside of the group speak so we can all learn, grow, and be better for one another. And there's some members here, which is always so nice to see. But I would say the biggest benefit out of all the long list of things you can find on our website are the meaningful connections people make within the group. So truly, it's about connections and feeling supported. But we're business owners, so it's about the success of your business as well. So in a very natural, comfortable way, it's a chance to find your people, find those collaborations that can really make a difference for your business, to help you engage with a new audience, to help you have a successful event, to help you, identify new folks, maybe even on Instagram, to get exposure to. So we're all about facilitating those kind of connections.
So great, you have to go. Okay. So, women are told, especially professional women are told, we can have it all. Sometimes it feels like we don't want to have it all, so that seems like too much. But, you want to have that happy balance between feeling like a rock star at work and feeling like a rock star in your personal life, too. How do you do that? How do you balance it all? Do you? And how are you able to?
Yeah, I definitely do not balance it successfully. Let's be honest here. Lauren mentioned that I'm the PTO president of my child's elementary school, and I had a woman grab me at a town event. She's like, "What are you doing? That's not for people like us." And I think she had a point, and I was in too deep at that point. It was too late. But I did want to make space in my life to be at my child's school. I did want to learn more about the administration and how that works. I've never been a teacher. I'm curious about that, and I did want to spend my volunteering hours doing something that makes a meaningful difference for people I know. So being involved with the PTO, but it also means that I'm not the PTO president who is, tying little bows on little gifts and all that. That's just not what you're going to get from me, but I will find the mom or the dad who can do that. So I think having it all is obviously, I don't even want to step into that because who knows, but really we all know how we define that. How do you feel good at the end of the day? What makes you feel like this was a day where your time was best spent? You feel good about it. You showed up for the people that matter to you professionally and personally. And, getting involved in whatever small way or big way often, gives you the chance to do that. But I definitely don't do it all well, but I don't expect myself to. I move quickly, I make mistakes, and I'm actually really okay with that. I'm going to forget Nurses Administration Day. I'm going to, those, and so that brings me to another thing, which is delegation. So a lot of times people, especially in volunteers, those that work nonprofits, know volunteer management and nurturing is a whole nother ball of wax. But, laying out the welcome mat for other people to have a role to play is often something people assume is happening, but isn't. And so if you do that and you keep inviting people to show up and then you empower them to do things, whether they want something small or big, then a lot of the times we're going to have more than just a small group involved with something. So that's been, delegation. It's been huge, and just continuing to ask, because we want to get a lot done in every organization, but we can't expect to do it all by ourselves. And we can't also expect ourselves to do it perfectly.
How would you define success both personally and professionally?
Yeah, so you're giving me some zingers, Lauren. I know we covered, for some reason they didn't feel as hard, but all these impressive people. So I saw something, not to, focus too much on the family side, but I saw a graphic that really resonated with me, and it said, if you're able to be at your child's event, you're a success. And I really like that because, if we have control over our schedule, if we have control, whether it's because you have the right boss who knows those things are important, whether you can be that boss to make sure your employees get to have those moments, then that's what our whole life experience is for. I mean, we all have a job, right? We all know we need to work and contribute and add value as well. So I would say on the professional side, to be able to provide a service to people that genuinely helps them and to also maybe make it a little fun, to me, that feels successful. So whether that's somebody saying they appreciate something, I mean, I'm very lucky in the seat I get to have with my clients. So people often come to us because they want to launch a business or they want to grow a business. So they are sharing something very intimate and important to them, right? They're sharing their dream. Maybe it's something they've thought about their whole lives. Maybe it's something that they just thought of in a brainstorming meeting and they want to see if this has legs. Regardless, it's something they're passionate about and it truly matters in their life. So we take that very seriously, to be trusted with supporting them to do that. And so it also means that when I present the final logo or the website, I get to see the smile on their face when they realize, wow, I look good. We get to help them look good and help them feel confident about how they're showing up and make sure their digital presence is as professional as who they are in real life. And that gives us all a little pep in our step when we, feel good about the materials we're handing out to people, when we are happy when somebody scans the QR code to go to our website. Those are setting us up for success, so we can focus on the, revenue building side of our business, or we can focus on networking, or we can focus on refining our operations, whatever it is. But I, really feel so honored to be able to help people feel good about their business and then watch them succeed.
Susan, what do you see as the biggest opportunities for women in leadership today, and particularly on the South Shore locally?
Good question. Well, I would love to learn from all of you what you think the opportunities are. I look out in this room and know there's so much expertise and knowledge here, so I hope you'd be willing to share with me because I want to learn. But I would say showing up is probably the most important part, right? If you're in the room, you get to learn. You get to have a voice. So find out what rooms you want to be in, what rooms matter to you, which things kind of speak to your core values or resonate with your, corporate brand values or company beliefs. And making space for it. It's hard to make space for life, especially when you have a lot of competing priorities. So I would say that's important. And then there's something that, we all have our challenges as people, right? We all have our things we're working on and the things we're born with. Well, confidence just wasn't the thing I struggled with in my life. And so I feel very grateful for that. I do feel confident. It's not an act. It's just something that I know I have, ideas to share. I know I want to hear. I don't have all the answers, but I have some experience to draw upon. So being able to have that confidence, I think, is something I just feel grateful for, because I also know confidence can be people's biggest challenge. And that can be the reason they don't show up. That can be the reason why they don't believe they're worthy of a professional logo, or they're worthy of being on a board of a prestigious organization like the Chamber. It can be a roadblock. And so we'll have to lean on the therapists and life coaches out there to tell us how to remove that as an obstacle for us. But I would say that's often the thing where it's like, life's hard enough. Let's get out of our own way and then let's just soar. So that to me always feels like, unfortunately, especially with women, something that I just, love seeing people find a way to sidestep so they can truly follow whatever their goals are. And to be able to stay laser focused on it, because even when you are, it can still be hard. But at least you're moving towards something, and you're letting those external pressures be the only things getting in your way.
What would you say that leadership means to you? Do you have mentors or guides from your past experiences that you look to for your leadership? And what's your leadership style?
Thank you. Yeah, leadership is huge. And like all of you, I've had many jobs in my life and many bosses. So we probably all had really awesome bosses. We still hear in the back of our head, oh, we might have some bosses who we, didn't jive with, or now that we're a little bit, wiser, we don't necessarily prescribe to their style. But regardless, at this point, it's about seeing what works. And when you are a leader of an organization or a family or, your own schedule, you really have to think about what's going to lead to the best progress. And so for me, that's always been servant leadership. So that means that I, as the, PTO president or the leader of SHD marketing, I don't see my job as everybody's helping me shine. It's the opposite. My job is to help everybody else look good, get their job done, and feel good. That is the end of the day what the goal is. If people are feeling confident, they are empowered, and they also have somebody who is okay with seeing them be vulnerable and to support them and to help them, then we know that'll help everybody perform to their optimal level. And so when it comes to the SHD marketing team, we're all colleagues and we all support each other. But it does mean that I get to have a special eye on them and support them and help them shine, which is very easy to do. And then also with the PTO and the leadership side, I see my job as just helping the fundraising chair, helping the community engagement. I'm kind of a behind the scenes person as much as I can because it's so much more fun to watch somebody else, be in the spotlight.
Just a quick show of hands. I meant to ask this earlier. How many people have worked with Susan either through the Girl Gang or been to an event, are a client? Yeah, it's everyone in the room. So it's pretty rare for a marketing agency or an ad agency to be so well known themselves and have such a strong brand. It really is. You typically have to go find them. If you're on Google, who can help me with my marketing locally? So it's really remarkable that Susan has made such a name for herself in a very genuine, authentic way. Just based on the work that she does. So those are my questions. I opened it up to the audience if there's anyone who, do you have any questions for the audience? Yes. All right.
I've asked you a few questions already, but I'm serious. I want your answers. I would love the opportunity to learn from you. I was so honored when Heather and Julie and others reached out to do this, and obviously honored to share a stage with somebody as impressive as Lauren. And then a few days ago, I got the registration list, and I was looking at all of you and who you are and the organizations you represent and the businesses that you lead. And it was a little intimidating, I'm not going to lie. But I genuinely would love to hear from you about your own leadership strengths or tips or that thing that you heard that you always rely on and lean on. We can all benefit from that. And I'd love to also connect with all of you if it's not, here today in person, whether, it's on LinkedIn or Instagram or something like that, so we can stay in touch and I can watch you excel would be great. But I just invite people to share, what are their leadership nuggets that you would be sharing if you were up here or when you were up here, if you've done it in the past. I'm going to call a name.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. And I kind of have a question because I think this kind of relates to your story where you worked in a very big corporation for a very long time, high up, dealing with lots of teams and lots of people, and then went to very small, just you,
Yep.
and then growing it into the business that you've created. I am on a similar journey. I was in corporate leadership for over 30 years, bigger company, international company. And I recently just went all on my own.
Congratulations.
Even though I've been doing it for 2 years on the side.
That's great.
So it's a big step, and you definitely see all your leadership things that you learned, dealing especially in corporate environments. And me personally, I worked in a very male-dominated field, an engineer. and dealing with those toxicities and learning how to work with your team to empower them. And I've offered this up to some of my clients now because I'm a life coach, a transformational coach. And what I found worked best for me with my team was finding each individual strength in the team and each individual weakness, and then pairing up the weaknesses with the strengths so that the team worked really harmoniously together. When you empower your employees or the people that work for you for the same goal with something they love to do and that really comes easy for them, it lights them up and they just thrive. And that's the best way to make your team just grow. Grow personally, grow professionally, and really create the environment that you really want, as opposed to throwing stuff at them that they don't like, they're just drudging through the day, or leading with fear, which can come from a little bit of a hierarchy. And I just wanted to offer up that nugget.
I love that. Thank you, Crystal. And how many people have made the journey from big corporate background or even medium-sized corporate, doesn't have to be big, to a smaller organization, whether it's a nonprofit or your own business? I mean, that is, I just got chills because every time somebody comes to me with their story, I think I'm going to, put in my resignation. It comes up a lot in Girl Gang, as you can imagine. But also at SHD Marketing, it's exciting because it's so damn scary. You're getting a salary, you've got the benefits, you've got all those things. But if you're called to do something different, usually in your core that, we've got one chance here. We spend a lot of time working, but we probably want to find a way to use our skills, use all of our expertise in a way that allows us to truly make a difference in people's lives. And whether that's, being part of a community, whether that's realizing you have other skills to lean on, like coaching from engineering, it's just, one of those things where when you have the passion, you've got to have the sea legs too. There's a lot of risk associated with it, and I never want to minimize that because this is real stuff. We've got mortgages, we've got, college tuitions to pay. These are real life things that don't go away just because you have a dream and a passion, right? But if you have the grit, you have all of that, and you truly know you're solving a need out there in the world, and there's a case for it. I mean, look at Christina. Who knew we needed a salt cave so badly out in South Shore? She knew. And so it's so exciting to see inspiring stories like that, but then also to see, everybody, wherever you are in your journey of, being ready to launch. But I love that leadership recommendation of recognizing, just like I said when I was talking about Melissa Smith, her strengths are my weaknesses. Her weaknesses, she doesn't have many, but are my strengths. So that's a great partnership for that reason, and the same goes for within teams.
So we worked with you, I think, early on. I don't remember. It was 4 years ago now. And I love that your team has grown, and you've got all of these wonderful subject matter experts in all these different areas. And I think this is a comment, but also a tribute to your team and how it's grown. It's realizing that you can't do it on your own. I was sort of developing this concept early on by myself, in the middle of the pandemic, trying to figure out what I was going to do after losing my job. And recognizing that you have these resources around you, whether they be friends or family that you can lean on to gather the knowledge to create this great foundation to build something. So I think what I wanted to share is just it's okay to build a great team around you and let them be the ones that build the foundation to make it into something really special. So thank you for everything that you did for me and the others in the room that have supported us. The other thing I wanted to say too is, you can evolve. I mean, I thought I was going to be in broadcasting. I wanted to be the next Jane Pauley, but that's not even close to what I'm doing.
Podcasts, right?
Yes, I do some podcasts. That's kind of that little corner of my soul, But yeah, I mean, I think that be open to whatever path is drawing you to whatever it is you end up being. It's not a bad thing. Listen to it.
I love that. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Christy. I'm from South Shore Conservatory, and we love your work with Mad Love.
Thank
It's
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
So I was thinking about the mentorship question that Lauren asked, and it's funny because a few years ago, a girlfriend and I decided to give each other New Year's resolutions instead of coming up with our own New Year's resolutions. And I would talk all the time about like male mentors and how I liked having male mentors because I liked having somebody who was ambitious, had the same views of like work-life balance that I wanted one day, you know, wasn't afraid to negotiate, having tough conversations, all of this. And she was like, but I would get frustrated, and she was like, my resolution for you is to find a woman that's like that. And honestly, as soon as I started viewing mentorship through that lens and finding women who I see myself in that I never really, it opened up a whole new world to me, I guess. And so I was wondering, like, do you have somebody like that in your career journey? How did you find her? What type of mentorship do you do in the community, or is it mostly with people who report to you directly? Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And also that the servant leadership, definitely, like, I sort of view leadership as if you're in a garden, like making sure each individual flower is blooming versus your flowers like way up there and there's nothing else in the garden.
I love that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. As we transition to spring mentally, right?
Yeah. And my daughter's name is Lily.
Oh, that makes sense. I love it. My daughter's middle name is Rose, so right there with you. So yeah, mentorship is huge, and you saw me just waltz right past that question because guess what one of my weaknesses is? Never had a mentor. Wow. I've never had a business coach. I've never had any of those things that I know I should. I've just never made time for it in my life. I do have the Girl Gang Association, and we all, it's kind of like a group think kind of thing where I feel like I lean on people through that. And obviously I have a lot of friends and clients that turn into friends and all of that. So I feel like just naturally I'm lucky to be around really impressive people, and through osmosis I learn from them and grow from them and everything, but nothing really structured. So maybe you need to do my New Year's resolution as well if you're open to it, because I think that's certainly an opportunity. And then serving as a mentor to people. We have interns at SHD Marketing, which is great, and it gives us a chance to work with high schoolers and college age kids, men, women, as well. But again, nothing structured. So if you have something that you like how it works and you think it could serve any of the organizations I'm a part of, please know I'd love to learn from you.
Any other questions?
Quick question. One of the things you said very early on, when you were on the retreat and you were thinking about shifting and starting your own business, you talked about giving yourself permission. And that just like really struck a chord with me because I think it's something that even if people don't admit it, and probably more specifically women, it's really challenging because you do for everybody else and you almost answer to everybody else even though that's not the intention. If you find that someone is struggling with giving themselves permission, like how did you overcome that, and how would you walk somebody else through overcoming that?
Yeah, that's great. I know I don't tell that story often. I don't know if I've ever told it in a group, but I get chills just thinking about that moment because it was like so obvious, and I felt, how long was I waiting until that conversation happened? But it happened at the right time, and it was perfect in so many ways. But I think we're always wanting permission. Is this the right thing to wear? Was that the right thing to eat? Is this the right way to balance my schedule? Is this the right decision about how I spend my free time? We have to give it to ourselves. We're adults, actually, it turns out. And so recognizing that. And then I think for me, I'm a very rational, logical person. So I start everything with a business plan, right? A spreadsheet, what's in the red, what's in the black, and like to me, everything follows that. Like if something makes sense, then let's do it. So I kind of, I tend to lead by that. But every now and again, there is something more you need to know your direction. I mean, think about your decision to choose your spouse or the name for your kid or, anything like that. Like, sometimes you just know. So I would say the biggest thing is creating space in your life to have time to think about those things. So I recently learned that I don't have any alone time ever. I spent a lot of my adulthood actually living alone in San Francisco. So I became very comfortable eating out, being by myself, and I miss that every now and again. And so nobody's going to invite me to have that time to myself either. So I recently started a tradition with myself where I go alone, usually to a nice hotel in Boston or somewhere like that, just to have space in my brain and nothing on my calendar. So whether I'm reading a book that happens to be on the bookshelf at the hotel or whether I'm working on a project that I knew I just needed headspace on because it's a writing project and it's, I really need to noodle it. But often I find myself on those trips thinking strategically about my own business. So my team always gets a little nervous when I come back. They're like, what are we doing this year, But it just is such a luxury to have a little bit of space. So maybe that's, renting a private room at a library, or maybe that's, clearing your schedule, whatever works for you. For some reason, I need to drive in a car somewhere and be somewhere else in order to have any space and solitude for that. But that to me is kind of probably a bigger reason why that decision felt so clear, was because I had a little bit of airtime to really focus on it. Yeah, Lynn?
Sorry, and I would add, so I was a corporate hamster wheel person until 18 months ago, and it took me a long time to give myself permission, but the thing that actually got me there was I sat down and I wrote down my values, and my values and what I was doing just did not align. And then when you think about you're here on Earth for one go-round, right, and you say, this doesn't make sense. So I think for anyone who's sort of in that struggle, write down what's really important to you, and if your job or your marriage or whatever it could be doesn't align with that, then it gives you opportunity to move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I love that, Lynn. Thank you.
One thing that's so interesting to you being a marketing leader is part of marketing is telling other people how great they are and articulating that for them. So I think in friendships too you can find that, or just someone you confide in is like, these are all the things that I do, and I don't really understand, and I don't know what to do next. And someone else is like, don't you know how great you are? So that's a lot of what you do in your organization is tell people how great their businesses are, and then share that with others. So I feel like that's a really important thing for us to do professionally with each other as well. This room could rule the world by then. We can figure a lot of stuff out. I think lock these doors and put it up. I'm telling you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Susan, I know you have, with the Girl Gang, you have an event you're planning. Can you share a little information?
Thank you. Julie actually leads our marketing for. So we did this last year, and again, going back to the whole you get all this structure when you're part of a corporation or a big industry or something like that. So we started last year for the Girl Gang Association, but really for the whole community. It's not just for members. It's open to everybody. An annual conference. So this is a one day for everybody to clear their schedule, spend some time together. It's, it's a small group. It's about 100 people. We have an agenda with some really impressive and inspiring leaders talking about, being in business. It's a way for people to connect with other people, almost like your corporate, conference where you're like, I've worked with this person so many times, but we've never actually had lunch together or something like that. Gives you a chance to make all those in-person connections and spend the day together. And really, to our earlier discussion about having space to focus on something, it gives you that. So on May 8th, we're going to have our second annual Girl Gang Association conference. I hope all of you will consider coming. It was a lot of fun. We had people like Christina speak last year and many others. So it'd be great. We haven't yet opened registration, but we will be shortly. And if you happen to be part of an organization that likes to be in front of that type of audience and get exposure to like this group, some pretty powerful and impressive women on the South Shore with influence, I encourage you to consider sponsoring the event as well. I'd be happy to walk you through what that means and what the options are, but as you can imagine, we're really flexible and just want to work with as many people as possible to make this truly a community event. So thank you for reminding me.
Oh, yeah. We were just meeting and talking about it last week.
Yeah,
so top of mind. But I did attend last year. Thanks to Christina. She was a guest of Christina's, and it was phenomenal. Thank you.
Yeah, it was really great.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah. Women are pretty cool. It's nice to see what they do, right? Learn from each other.
Well, this has been great. I've been hesitating to get up because it was such a great conversation. I was like, we can do 5 more minutes. So thank you both. This is really inspiring. What a way to kick off 2025. Thank you again to our sponsors. Our next will is March 20th. All of a sudden I was thinking about May. March 20th. Nicole Craven is here. She's our speaker for Sing, Explore, Create. So we'll be in her beautiful space. We won't be here. Registration, you can do it on the website. I also want to give a shout out to Heather because she does so much for Will. I'm just the one who stands up and talks, but she does so much for Will and for this wonderful series. So thank you both again. Thank you to our sponsors, and there's plenty of talking. Thank you, Lauren. So appreciate you. That was awesome. Can I bring you everywhere? Oh, of course. We should be in the
Wouldn't it be fun to just get like dinner once a quarter and like everybody can talk about AI or whatever, or just chit chat? I love that. I think about that too because I want to collaborate with others, and sometimes the areas of competition can get so I never want it to be like that. I know, but I guess it was neutral. Yeah, well, it was like, yeah, it's okay too. Yeah. We don't, I know you work with boys and girls. It's like, yeah, I want to help them. Yeah, exactly. It's all about helping the community. So that's the right way. I want to Yes, we do. Especially because I, work for a nonprofit, so that's why, I kind of draw upon that a lot. What is your organization? So I'm the fairly new director of the Asthma Allergy Foundation in New England. So it's a national organization. We're our nonprofit. But anyway, chapter. Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, I work for the Arthritis Foundation and the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. They were also chapters, but yeah, I love working with nonprofits. Okay, so yeah, because I'm like, I love getting my feet wet, and I think we are kind of finding ourselves, coming from after COVID. Big driving work today. COVID, now we're kind of figuring out where to apply. So actually, having a number that is back. So wanted to get together. Absolutely. Well, I'd love to learn more about your organization. Once you're settled, if there are things that you want some support, like marketing, that would be great because we're heavy on our board and everyone is heavy on the medical side as well. That's very not on the marketing. Okay. And I have a marketing background. We're doing some fun and experiential marketing. I'm a solo. Totally. So we have lots of nonprofits that are a part of it, and so I could even email you a little discount code for nonprofit. But we'd love to have you at an event, and you can kind of introduce you to some other nonprofits and stuff. And then if and when you're ready to talk about any marketing initiatives, things like that, we'd love to meet with you. Terrific. Yeah, thanks for coming. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Getting off the wheel. I'd like to take a picture. picture.
So, come on. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Lisa. She's not in the room. You want to people? Yeah. That's fine. Will you be in a picture? Sure. Thank you. Making the Thank you.